This is awkward occurrence, awkward entertainment. So I will be getting into my thoughts on the Gabby Petito coroner's report. On her report, the final note was she was strangled to death. Strangled to death. I don't think it would have mattered if she was shot, strangled, or stabbed. People would still be pointing fingers at Mr. Laundrie. This script would be still Mr. Laundrie did it. So, before I get into her coroner's report, I'm going to play an interview by Rose Davis. I've seen this once. I don't think I saw the entirety, so I'm going to watch it now.
Roughly 2 years ago, I got a message on Bumble for friends, and it was, you seem so cool, I want to be your friend, can we be friends? And I was like, of course, and from there we started hanging out every day, and it's kind of weird to say I met her on Bumble for friends. People always laughed at us for that, but hey, glad she came into my life.
And how was your friendship? What did you do?
Well, our favorite thing was this ice cream shop that unfortunately I just found out yesterday closed down. But that was our first go-to, and then other than that, we were pretty, just kind of chilling all the time, just hanging out and talking, and she came everywhere with me. We joked around and said she was my, what do we call her? Emotional service human, because everywhere she went, just always cheering me up,
And how soon after you first met her did you meet Brian?
It was about the second time we hung out. I went over to her house, either second or third time, and he was hanging out there, and that's when I first met him.
And what was their relationship? Or what is their relationship?
Thank you. On the outside, he's very charismatic, so it seems very loving, and there's no doubt in my mind that she loves him, and I know that, and from how I've always seen it, he loves her. Of course, like any relationship, there was arguments, and she come stay at my house when there was arguments just to, get away from it, and I didn't ask much questions, because if she wanted to tell me, she could tell me,
How many times did you come and stay with him?
I couldn't give a number, but within the first year, I want to say at least 7 to 10 times.
Do you remember any one particular incident which was particularly upsetting?
Yeah, well, we were supposed to go line dancing. It was ladies' night. And her drive is about 30 minutes to me, and halfway there, she realized her ID was missing, and so it caused a really big argument because Brian just didn't want her to go out, and it was a jealousy issue, and
So, in reports, articles, you will find that day her ID was missing. She couldn't get in. She went back to the house and slapped Brian Laundrie, that would be Gabby Petito, and then Mr. Laundrie pushed her. So I'm guessing whatever news article that was I read got that information from Rose Davis through Gabby Petito. I say that to say, she as in Gabby Petito was just as aggressive as Brian Laundrie.
it caused a huge argument between them, and she came over and cried and just talked to me about what happened and told me all that she was comfortable telling me.
Did you feel that their relationship was getting more problematic?
I do believe that their relationship, as they kept going on, was getting a little, problematic. I mean, just seemed like there was more and more arguments, and everything she did, I feel like, he thought was wrong, and even as she said in the body cam, he didn't even support her with her blog, which that's not what a fiance or boyfriend does. They support you with anything you want to do, and that in itself, made me feel like it just continued to get worse.
Brian is not talking to the police. What's your message to Brian?
I just wish him and his family would realize how serious it is, and my friend's life is at stake. And I would really just appreciate it if he would speak up. And he saw her last. If he says something, he has more information. Even just one little thing gives us a place to start. And I just wish he'd say something. If anybody knows or sees any information or thinks they have any information, please say something. We're relying on you to say something. That's all we can do right now is hope that people say something. I want to find my friend.
All right, let's get into the coroner's report. Now, this comment was left under one of my videos. I forget which Gabby Petito video it was. But it reads, the coroner stated it was domestic violence related. During the coroner's report, he said something about domestic violence. So-and-so, so-and-so. The coroner wasn't referring to Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito. The coroner was just making a statement, so this coroner has people thinking Miss Petito died. It's filling the flames, making people think Miss Petito died at the hands of Gabby Petito. The coroner never said how Miss Petito was strangled. He could not give too many details about anything. He basically just said homicide by strangulation, and we did every test we could to determine her cause of death. That was it. If you watch the report, John Walsh asked a bunch of questions, about 2 questions. A bunch of other media people asked questions. The coroner couldn't answer those questions. So let's continue. Let's continue this. What else did he say? He said authorities will have DNA from coat. Well, it doesn't look like authorities have DNA to link Brian Laundrie to Gabby Petito's death. Let's continue. Since he had been through the prison system, he's talking about Colt Freeman. Video I did about a mental institution guy that escaped. Here's the thing. He says if they had Coach's DNA on her body, they wouldn't have called it domestic violence, and they would have already named Coach a suspect. I doubt that. You don't necessarily leave DNA when you wrap your hands around somebody's throat and choke them to death. You don't necessarily leave DNA. And they didn't call it a domestic violence issue. The coroner, again, was speaking freely when he said that. He wasn't talking about Gabby Petito's cause of death. He didn't say Gabby Petito's cause of death was domestic violence by strangulation. Brian Laundrie did it. And people just took that and ran with it. Took that statement about domestic violence from the coroner and they're running with it. As if this coroner has the details the police have, which this coroner doesn't. The coroner's job is to determine how she died, not to determine who did it, not to determine if it was done by a boyfriend or by another suspect, because you don't have to be in a relationship to strangle someone. Serial killers strangle people. I don't know why people tend to forget that. This is signs of strangulation. So Miss Petito's body would have looked something like this when they found it. Even though it had been out there 3 to 4 weeks, these are signs she was strangled. Blood red eyes, red spots on her face, cord or rape burns, depends on if a rope was used or a cord was used. You will see an imprint of the cord or the rope. Swollen lip, bruising, and scratches. Let's continue. Yes. So mainstream media, again, I've stated this, is pushing domestic violence is what caused Gabby Petito's death. Gabby Petito was strangled. Experts say such an assault is a red flag for intimate partner homicides. That can be a red flag for a serial killer in the area. But that's the narrative. That's the narrative being pushed. It's a domestic violence issue. Let's continue. These are other symptoms. Let me see. Yes, signs of strangulations and symptoms of strangulation. The head, pinpoint red spots on the scalp, hair pulled, skull fracture, concussion. These are things the coroner and his partners would have been looking for during her autopsy. Face would be red or flush, scratches, marks, eyes and eyelids, petechiae to the left or right eyeball, bloodshot eyes, the ears, same thing, bleeding from the ears, the ear canal, bloody nose, broken nose, bruising, swollen tongue, swollen lips, cuts, abrasions under the chin, redness, scratch mark, bruises, abrasions. And that goes into the symptoms of strangulation. Voice changes, swallowing changes, breathing changes, behavior changes. And this is just more symptoms symptoms of strangulations. More the same from the last slide. So it'll be redness on the neck, scratch marks, fingernail impressions, bruises. You can't get DNA off of fingernail impressions. You can't. I mean, unless the fingernail was left inside of her neck. Which, if that was the case, maybe you can collect DNA. I'm pretty sure they have some type of DNA of Brian Laundrie's, and they still haven't charged them. Redness, chest and shoulders, redness, scratch marks. Over to symptoms, vision change, hearing changes, and other changes. So manual strangulation is the most common method seen in domestic violence cases. It's also the most common method used in murdering somebody if you're a serial killer out there on the loose. And this just tells you how it's done. Hands are placed on the throat and commonly obstruct the jugular veins, cutting off blood flow from the brain. Because the blood is still going to the brain but not leaving it, the increase in pressure causes the capillaries in the face and brain to burst, and petechiae may be visible on the skin, but a point of constriction and on the brain on autopsy. So they must have looked at her brain some way, somehow during this autopsy. So unconsciousness occurs around 2 minutes and death occurs around 4 minutes. Now, if this was a hanging, the use of a rope or a similar object to suspend the body by the neck Both hanging and ligature strangulation are likely to have visible signs of ligature on the neck, but the angle of the marks would be upward in hanging and is more likely to be horizontal in ligature strangulation, unless the position of the perpetrator is above the victim. Unless the position of the perpetrator is above the victim, which in this case, again, many people believe the perpetrator is Brian Laundrie. Anything else? No, that's really it for this video. For that video, let me find something else. So, Mr. Laundrie is still on the run. We do not know if he committed that murder at all. It looks like he committed that murder because he came home without her. When he came home, he fled a little after she was reported missing. The use of her credit card, and such and so. Now, is there anything else I want to add to this? Anything else I want to add to this? Did he do it? Did he do it? It's looking like Mr. Laundrie did it. Are his parents covering up for him? It would be stupid of the parents to cover up for him and hide him in a murder case, in a case of homicide. So I don't believe his parents did it. I don't believe his parents are hiding him. That's really it. I just wanted to show you guys what strangulation, the symptoms and signs of strangulation look like. That is really it. Anything else I want to add to this? No. Alright, this has been Awkward Occurrence or Awkward Entertainment, and I will see you in the next video.